So I went to a seminar last week by Nino Drowaert. He's a pretty well-known guy in the world of protection sports. And the thing I like about him is that he trains police dogs, and he also competes. He competes in Dutch ring sport, which is a lot of the police dogs. They're kind of like taken out of Dutch ring sport because it's probably the best approximation of real-world functional protection and police dog work. And I believe he placed second, either internationally or nationally. But he's like, a top-level competitor internationally, and he does both, which I think is pretty awesome. So I really enjoyed the seminar. It was cool. It was a one-day event, so it was abbreviated. When he comes back to the Northeast, I actually traveled for it because I was supposed to go to the Jersey one, and I couldn't go because I had to extend Woody because Woody was special. But anyway, I'm very glad I went. Now, the reason I'm making the video is I want to mention two things. One, why it's important, I think, to go to seminars, right? Whether for dog trainers, dog owners could go to, you could learn a lot. You could, if you want to get into this stuff, and his would be great because it's for all levels. It's for the novice up to the advanced competitor or police dog trainer or whatever. Everyone can get something out of these seminars. But one of the main reason why it's important to go, and also a very simple thing that I had reinforced to me from the seminar that I often overlook. So first, why it's important to go, right? Especially for trainers, is because you want to see like where you're at, okay? In terms of, okay, so this guy's like one of the best in the world. How is he doing things? How am I doing things? And if there's a gross discrepancy, it's a pretty good sign. Like, you're gonna want to change up, dude. Like, if you don't really understand a lot of the concepts being discussed, then okay, there's a lot there to learn. So I was glad to see that a lot of the fundamentals, they were there. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of overlap and stuff like that. He's just at a higher level than I am. But like the fundamental stuff that I'm doing, like I wasn't going in, I was like, well, I don't understand this. You know what I mean? That's very important. You want to make sure that you're not like just a fucking hot mess and you don't know it. So there's basic stuff that you need to double check. And that was the other thing, is that it helps because you don't have a coach, unless you're working for someone. And even then, you don't know what they don't know. But that's the thing. It's an epistemic kind of thing. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And there could be very basic, fundamental things that you're doing wrong. Stuff that either you know better or you just didn't know, right? So it was good to go for that, and to kind of see too where like other people are, like people that brought their dogs, and it was nice to see like Dewey, who could use a lot of work, but he's actually, like, if I had a little bit more time, like, he's not too far away where a lot of the people who were like competing are, so that was cool to see too. But like, there's plenty of room for improvement on my end. But here's the small thing that I took away, a constant error I'm making, and this is very important for dog owners. He stressed this, such a basic thing, and it's a mistake I make frequently. Movement trumps language always. So if you move at the same time, let me see if I can capture. If you move at the same time as you say something, so you're like, place, all right? Oh, geez, right there. Or you're like, sit, you're moving. They're predators. He didn't talk about this, but this is actually a bigger reason, I think, why than what he mentioned, which is that they have this instinctual response to motion where you're going to turn into Charlie Brown's mother every time you're moving because they're attracted to motion, because they're predators, right? It's like a really, really big, deeply embedded instinctual response is to follow motion. But another reason, and this is something I knew, and I knew not to do that, and I did it anyway, is that it's basic Pavlovian conditioning, classical conditioning. So if you think about Pavlov's dogs, a bell would ring, there'd be a pause, dog would salivate. Once the bell had been conditioned, right? And then he would get fed, right? So the bell became the signaling mechanism. Well, if the bell rang at the same time that the dog was getting fed, it would just lose meaning. It wouldn't. There has to be a pause, okay? So that's basically what you're doing, is you're feeding the dog at the same time you're ringing the bell when you move, at the same time that you say something. So the command is, it needs to become a conditioned stimulus. It means do this, perform action X, and you'll receive reward Y. So it's basically like, but it's not natural, particularly if you're luring. So if you say, do you know what time it is when we're going to go over there? Like, no one does that. So you have to practice it, right? Very unnatural. So for someone like me, who for a long time, like, basically what I did was early in my career was more compulsion oriented. Yeah, I think that's how a lot of trainers start. And not that it was like crank and yank super like brutal, but it was still like, it was less rewards centric. So my luring technique was always lacking. I always knew don't move while talking for the most part, but it wasn't emphasized enough, and I would make the mistake unconsciously a lot still. So it's something that you really have to discipline, and you'll see a huge difference in your dog's ability to learn if you say, you tell them down, give them the hand signal, okay, down, 1/1000, hand signal, sit, 1/1000, hand signal, okay, pause, and then move. And what you want to do is, whether it's with applying a little bit of leash pressure, luring, or both, you want to pause and then move. Very, very simple. Otherwise, there's nothing being conditioned, okay? And also, movement, they're just always going to be attracted to it. So that was one very important thing. But I'd highly recommend to trainers and owners as well to go to if you could go to his multi-day seminar, I think that's probably better. But it's an excellent seminar to go to. He gets some really, really beautiful behaviors out of his dogs. Just really impressive stuff. He's friends with Bart Ballone. I believe they train together or belong to the same club in Belgium. So, he basically uses a Popo system. It's very similar, if not the same. But he's talented. He's a good athlete. He's very, smart guy, whatever. But I'd highly recommend you go to the multi-day one, because he does one on puppy, shaping, conditioning, which is incredibly important for trainers, right? Because that's where all the teaching occurs. Puppies have such a high ceiling too. So the better you can get at that, the more you can maximize the potential in your own dogs and other people's. And then the other one is on e-collar stuff. And we didn't do any e-collar work with this one-day seminar. So I'll catch him when he comes back up to the Northeast. But I'd highly recommend it. So go, because you don't know what you don't know. And the other thing is, remember, it's very important for owners, trainers, whatever. But especially when you're trying to teach, but just generally, don't move while speaking. Speak, then move. Wait half a second, okay, whether it's a hand signal, leash, luring, whatever. All right? But excellent seminar, and I'd highly recommend it.